If you have ever driven through Edmond, Oklahoma, you have no doubt seen Lieutenant Colonel Leonard B. Scott, better known as Old Ranger. He's going to join us in studio today and talk about how over the last 2 years he has gone from one-man band to a citywide crusade. Old Ranger is our guest today on Special Assignment. Leonard Scott, thank you so much for coming into Project 46.
Pleasure, brother.
Anyone who lives in Edmond certainly has seen you on a street corner at one time or another, holding signs.
Flags.
Holding flags. People joining you sometimes have signs. Take us from the beginning. Where did this guy come from? Who we see around town?
Now it's going to be. I have to couch this a little differently, okay? Because what I'm about to tell you goes, people go, oh, here we go again. One of these weird stories. The truth is that I was in my backyard and I was drown-proofing my grandchildren, a pool. And I sat down and I had about 3 beers. Now, any beer drinker who says, oh, I had about 3, they know that's more than 3 beers, but we always just say it. And I was sitting there and there's no other way to say it. It was a voice. It's just a voice, and it said, stand up. Well, I automatically assumed it was, well, I need to go pee. It wasn't that kind of voice. And I thought about it, but it just kept saying, it wasn't loud, it wasn't any chimes or anything around it, there wasn't any firecrackers going off, it just said, stand up. And it just kept repeating in my head. And I didn't know how to quite handle it. And I thought, well, this is weird. Is this what's going on? But that next morning, I got up and I kind of forgot about it. And I was driving down the road, and the radio was on, and Ben, the guy from Texas, was on. I can't think.
The guy from Texas. Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck.
There we go.
And he had a guest, and the guest was the guy who wrote books. Anyway, he said, I wanted to make a sticker, and it says, stand up for America. And it hit me like a lightning bolt. Stand up for America. I had to pull off the side of the road. And just think about that a minute. Yes, it clicked. Stand up for America. I turned around and went to the sign shop, signs to go, and I walked in and I said, I want 20 signs that says stand up for America. And he said, what do you call it? I said, no, red, white, blue, white. And so I went back, and there it was. Beautiful. And I thought, God, this is great. Brian asked, why are you getting these? And I said, I don't know. I didn't know. So I put them in my truck, and I was driving and went by a neighborhood. I just pulled in. And anybody that flew a flag, I got out, walked up, knocked on the door. It was COVID. Everybody was home. So when I knocked up, they would open the door a little bit. What do you want? And I said, sir, you're flying the flag of our country. I would like to present you this sign. I had 20. They were gone in a day. Everybody took them. So I went back and ordered 30 this time.
Okay.
And my wife asked me, well, how are you paying? I had just gotten a check from Donald Trump for $1,200. And I said, I'm going to spend $1,200.
Put this to good use.
I spent $120 and I put signs up. By the time I ran out of money, I didn't need to anymore. People were seeing them, going and buy them from Brian. So I was
They were
out.
$8. We got one.
And the number one selling sign from Brian's shop forever. The number one shop. And so I thought, okay, stand up for America.
We're on to something here.
That's how it started. That's how that started. But then
But I mean, you must have had some political interest before that. I mean, were you completely disengaged from the political world and then this struck you? Or was it
no, I'd always...
a culmination of something?
My great-granddad made the run of '89 in Calumet, Oklahoma. And my granddad, he had a part of that. He got 160 acres, granddad worked on it. My dad joined the Oklahoma National Guard at the age of 17 because they just built the armory. and it was in the middle of the Depression. So when the armory was built, they all joined the Guard. So all the young men were in that unit, the Minco, Oklahoma National Guard. That was in the 30s, late 30s. And then in 1941, of course, the war started. Somebody came down and said, we need pilots, Army Air Corps pilots. My dad wanted to fly more than anything in this world. He raised his hand. He got in. He went through the entire war. He was a bomber pilot, got shot down on his 50th mission, last mission, and he parachuted near one of the German towns. In 1945, the camp commander came in and said, Americans are coming over that hill. Keep the gates locked because of civilians. Everybody was starving. Keep from the civilians. Don't let anybody come in. Sure enough, the vehicles came over. We opened the gate up, and Dad was standing there, and the first vehicle through was from Minco, Oklahoma, and it was the XO that he drove for. It came through, stopped the vehicle and looked, and he got up and said, Leonard, where are your shoes? And the 45th saved my dad.
You're kidding.
No. Now, talk about a God thing. Of all the units, and it was Minco that came in to that prison camp. Little backstory. They had just left Dachau. It was the 45th that found that camp. Mm-hmm. And they were so depressed and down after a month of taking care of that. And to see my dad, it opened up the whole world to them. So to them get together. And that's why I joined the 45th. That's why my sister joined the 45th. So it meant a lot to me. So that's why. So I understood the sacrifice. And in Vietnam, I had an RTO, and his dad was a big history guy from Massachusetts, Boston. And he said, do you understand the flag? And I said, what are we talking about? The American flag. He said, you know, my dad did the big study on that, and he called the 7 stripes, the red 7. I said, why? Well, when Betsy Ross made the flag, her granddad was a member of the committee that wrote the Declaration of Independence, George Ross. And he was tasked, he said, I have my niece who can make a banner for us. They brought the colors to her, red, white, and blue. But she didn't live in her normal house. They were in the root cellar because the British had taken over her house. She was given the flag material. Her uncle had been shot dead because he was in possession of a squirrel gun by the British. Her other uncle was on a prison boat and almost died on that boat. So she had the choice. The only requirement was 13 stripes, 13 stars. It was up to her what the stripes were. 7 red, 6 white. Okay. She put the red at the top. It was the major color in the flag because of the sacrifice of her family and all the other patriots. The purpose of that was the red for the blood of the sacrifice of our soldiers. When you understood that, he said, you understand the flag. Because when that flag goes up, you put your hand in your heart, you're honoring the Red 7, who sacrificed everything for this country. That meant a lot to me. He was hit. When I came to him, he said, sir, am I one of the Red 7 now? And he was. So, that stayed with me, brother. So the reason I go out there is remind people that freedom is not free. And I might be alone out there. And people will come up and said, why are you here alone? Brother, I'm not alone. I'm with the Red 7, my brothers and sisters. And one day, I'll be with them. And that makes me happy. And that's why I stand on corners. That's why.
Tell us the initial reactions you got.
Okay. Remember I said, stand up, little thing in my head? And so I thought with the flag, well, I had my dad's flag, funeral flag. Got it out, put it in the ground. Well, it's bigger than a normal flag, and it's made of wool. because it has to fill the full cap. It just hit the ground. I'm like, okay. Well, and then when I got the bigger flagpole, the wind wouldn't catch it. It's too attach it to a flagpole,
Okay.
and but it wouldn't blow because it was too heavy.
Gotcha.
So I had to go to another flag. It took me a week to finally figure out what the hell I was going to do.
Formula down.
So then I walked out there, put the flag down. I had no idea what the hell I was there for except to stand there and show the flag.
And what intersection?
It was right in front of Pops, 15th and Bryant, isn't it 15th? Yeah, I mean Panera.
Oh, Panera.
15th. I stood right there.
Oh, so it's like Bryant and 15.
Yep, right there on that corner.
Why there?
And, well, because it was close to my house.
Okay.
And it was a great corner because it was all of that, and it was shade. There were trees there.
That's true.
And it was summer, and I thought, okay, boom, and I put the flag in the ground. And I still...
And this was what day?
It was around, I started in July, so it would have been August, September.
2020.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
And I stood there, and I really wasn't quite sure. Nobody really honked. Nobody kind of understood what was going on, and they'd kind of give me a look what was going on. It didn't bother me. I just stood there thinking about all the memories of my men and my granddad and all of them. And it was perfectly, I never questioned why I was there other than I needed to be there. It just felt like I needed to be there. And I was going out twice a day. I'd go in the morning and I'd go in the evening. It felt that I needed to do that. And after about a week, people were starting, a little honk here and wave there. And I had moved from there to other locations, and I was at Watermelon Hill, and that is where, what's the name of that road, honey, that we, Danforth.
Danforth and what? Coltrane.
So that's where they sell water.
Thank you, Connie.
They sell watermelons.
Connie, always at the ready to help.
They sell watermelon, so I called it Watermelon Hill. And I was standing there, and it had been a long time. It's been a month out there. And this lady pulled off the road. And there's kids in the car. And she comes up to me, and she was crying. And I was concerned about her. I thought maybe something's wrong and I needed help. And she said, I'm so sorry. And I went, ma'am? She said, my kids, they see you all the time. I said, what's that old man doing out there? She said, oh, he's just an old man holding a flag. And then she said, I realized, no, he was a patriot. First time anybody told me that was the reason I was there. So it gave me some feedback that I wasn't just standing there in the air, but somebody actually understood why I was there.
Okay.
And
so was that the first positive feedback?
First positive feedback. It was when she got out of the car with tears in her eyes, and the kids.
And this is a month in.
Yep. And I walked up and talked to the kids, and I think that set the tone. And now I knew why I was there, and it made me stand a little straighter and get there a little earlier and all that. And then it began. Honks, waves, and it became more and more. And people started joining us. Connie had joined us. One of my neighbors had joined us. Others started joining us. But I would go out during the days, and they'd say, well, where are you going? It was God's plan. God would tell me where to go. And I say that because I felt like I needed to be here because somebody needed to see that. And what I explain later on is I'm an ember. I stand there as an ember because everybody that's going by at one time in their life stood beside their desk and pledged allegiance to the flag. And seeing that flag, that's ember, may just start to spark again. Just maybe. And sure enough, those sparks started to flame. And more people came out, more and more signs were coming out. And then I knew it was going to come. I knew it would. It came a lot slower, a lot different than I thought it was, but it didn't bother me.
But your faith never wavered?
Never. And it's a mission. I have to go out there. Well, you go out in the rain. I have to be there. I have to show the dedication. Rain, snow, sleet, I've got to be there. So I dedicated myself to that. And it's not like, oh, he's just crazy. No, brother, it's a mission to me. It's a purpose for me. Now, let me go back. Start this thing over. Before I ever did this, I knew something was wrong with me. And so I went to the doctor and says, I think something's not right. So he brought my wife in, he sat down and I had to take these tests, and he said, you have dementia. And then normally what happens is that tells you you are no longer on the long path, son. You're on the short path. But the thing about it is, I already knew it. I already knew that. Brother, I've lived in my body for 75 years. How old are you? No, you don't have to tell me.
28.
28 years, brother. You've been hit, you've been knocked, you've been sick. You know your body.
Right.
You know that wait a minute, something's not right.
Yeah, you are your own best doctor.
Yeah, you know it's. So by the time he told me that, I'd already been through the 5 steps. You know, you go through what? No. I figured out, okay, I'm not going to be around a long time. Guess what? I got a purpose. Because what happens is that when you think long, well, I'm going to take care of the kids doing that, and I'm going to be doing, and I, guess what? That's all gone. You got to do it now. So I made sure my kids were all taken care of. My mother died like yours did. And remember what happened? Everybody, and they fight over the stuff. Nope. I lined everything up, got it all cleaned out, got my mind right. My purpose was stand up for America. That was my purpose. And it hasn't let up since. Now, the other thing. People assume, we people with dementia, we get lost, we walk in the room, we don't know where we are, and all that. All the normal things, right? Wrong. Wrong. Because what happens is your body breaks down, your brain starts going 100 miles an hour. How can I adapt? How can I adapt? How can I do this? And it's like a record player, the old jukebox. And you got 3 records up here, and they drop, and they come up, and the other one drops. You're on this track. And so when they say, well, you're in somewhere, yeah, because you're thinking and stuff. I'm trying to get this done. I want to get that done. And you're, okay, where am I at now? You are so involved in what you have to do, you appear to be
So
stupid.
what is that feeling in your brain? Is it a sense of franticness?
No,
or?
it's not at all. It's acceptance that these things are going, but the problem is you've got to narrow it down to the purpose. Oh, we can fix this, that, or I need to do. No, I need to fix right here in my house, my neighborhood, my community, and everything else is a distraction. And you work on, get your house right, get your neighborhood right, get your community right. And I'm working on the community. That's where I've gone to now. So it's not a death sentence. It's a blessing to me. It has become a blessing to me. I'm not lost. I'm not trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm not trying to. No, I get up every morning knowing exactly what I've got to do.
So this has clarified your purpose.
Totally. It narrowed it down, and I'm on that track, and I don't want to deviate. And people, they're talking to me, and I kind of, because it doesn't matter. That's distraction. When you talk to me about weird stuff, I just zone out. It's not my purpose.
Okay, but you don't find yourself getting like disoriented or where are the car keys? And
well, you will, but again,
because I do that.
But
I've done that since I was 16.
But this thing,
couldn't find the car keys.
Let's say you're going to go to the Super Bowl. Man, you're planning all your stuff, right? You're getting all your stuff together. That's all you're thinking about. You know, oh, I've lost my car keys, but you're trying to get your stuff organized, tickets and all that. That's how my brain works. But it's for that purpose. You narrow it down to a place, and then that way you can focus on that, and it makes you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So there's no other way to explain it. So that's the lead-in to getting the message and doing what I'm doing now.
Okay, so what you're doing now, take us on the short journey, like short or long journey, I guess as long as you want to make it, from this woman, the first positive feedback that you got. When this woman came to approach you, into what it became. And tell us what it has become.
Well, there's one more to that. I was back on Watermelon Hill, and a lady pulled off the road, and she came out, and she had ballerina shoes, you know, and a black skirt. This is a beautiful lady. But it was hot. Grasshoppers were flying. She was running through the gravel, and came up to me, and she said, I love what you're doing. I want to start a Facebook page for you. I said, who are you? I was shocked by it. And I said, ma'am, I'm just an old ranger. That's it. You're going to be the old ranger. So she started a Facebook page. What she didn't know was she didn't know how to do a Facebook page.
Well, that's problematic.
So she did it, and within a week she had 7. Within 2 weeks she had 20, and then now we're 16,000 and still growing.
Well, there you go.
But she did that. Now, if you ask me right now, could you tell me about your Facebook page? And I have to take a gun, and I go, I put it to my head. I don't know how to put it. It's not on my phone. I have no idea how to do it. I don't even look at it. That's her thing. And others have gone into it. Now, I've gotten involved making some comments, but I don't read it every day. I haven't seen the Facebook page in 3 weeks. It's not, see, that's a distraction to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Others are doing that. No, I have a mission.
You don't need to look at it because you're living it.
I've got to be on that corner. I've got to be flying that flag.
Well, at some point you became very interested in politics within the city of Edna.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, let's talk about that. And we also want to hear the story that you're also a prolific writer.
Yes, I did was.
We'd like to talk about that as well. We are here with the Old Ranger. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. To see the rest of this interview and get access to more exclusive content, subscribe to Project 46. Head over to newsok46.com. If you want 20% off, enter Spino in the promo code. newsok46.com. Subscribe now.